maintenance, total maintenance key. TM-JC.com, no blue spots.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
That, of course, is future Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees, number 9 locally, number 9 everywhere. And it is New Orleans. Thank you, Drew. Boy, a nice afternoon in New Orleans. Have you been out there, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latin X?
Yes, it is pretty nice today.
Isn't it pretty nice out there?
Yeah.
It's like 85 degrees, 50% humidity. You know, it could easily be 90 still right now. The humidity could be like around 80%. It's 85 with 50% humidity. It's a nice little breeze on and off, 5-8 miles an hour. Or should I say knots with a K, knots. Not a hot wind either, like comfortable. Get outside, enjoy it. I'm looking forward to walking Mr. Tolley later this afternoon. You know, normally I have to wait till about 7:30. 7:30 is nighttime now. But I'll probably go around 6:45, 7, and it's going to be really nice. I'm hoping there's a little breeze, ideally coming out of the north. Anyway, get outside and enjoy it. Got a good one lined up for you. Coming up in a few minutes, Brad Coker is going to join us. He's with Mason-Dixon Polling. Got the latest mayoral poll. Mason-Dixon, very reputable. Helena Moreno, we talked about it last week. This poll was a Fox 8 poll. They hired Mason-Dixon. Came out Thursday night. We talked about it Friday. We've got the guy who conducted the poll from Mason-Dixon, Brad Coker, joining us in about 10 minutes. Helena Moreno, 51%. She leads in every demographic, every category. There's not a single category or demographic she trails in. 51%. Like 3-1 overall. Oliver Thomas in second place at 16%. Royce Duplessis now in third place at 11%. I would have to imagine that the sort of negative ad that Royce Duplessis' crew put together may have had something to do with that not great showing. If you're watching on Twitter or YouTube or on TV, Cox Channel 4 statewide, Spectrum Channel 333 statewide, this chair right here, you radio folks listening, use a little, imagination. There's a chair to my right. Royce Duplessis will be sitting in that chair Thursday at 4:20. Now, they had a couple of polls that came out. The first one was, right when Royce Duplessis entered the race, Arthur Hunter was still in the race. Right away, Royce Duplessis was like at 14%, Oliver Thomas at 16%, like really, really close. Oliver Thomas was like at 23%. And then the poll that comes out after that with Arthur Hunter out of the race, Royce Duplessis jumps into second place, overtakes Oliver Thomas. And he's been fundraising, outpacing Oliver Thomas in fundraising. But the latest poll, and I have to believe that negative television ad that Royce Duplessis put out, his first TV ad with the us and them and we and all that crap. We played the spot. He should pay us for that. We played that spot so many damn times, huh, Mario Brothers? Trying to convince us, our city, Royce is one of us. The chaos that held us back. All this us versus them, black versus white, obviously. I'll talk to Royce about that. I'll play that spot and talk to him on Thursday about it. Face to face right here. Looking forward to that. He's dropped to third place now in the latest poll. And I've got to think that TV spot had something to do with it, turned people off. Helena Moreno, 51%. Oliver Thomas, 16%. Royce Duplessis, 11%. With men, Helena Moreno, 55%. Oliver Thomas, 16%. Royce Duplessis, 12%. With women, Helena Moreno, 47%. Oliver Thomas, 16%. Royce Duplessis, 10%. White people. That's my KKK voice. Helena Moreno, 73%. Oliver Thomas, 3%. Royce Duplessis, 5%. With the black population, Helena Moreno, 33%. Oliver Thomas, 27%. Royce Duplessis, 16%. There's maybe 12 to 15% undecided, maybe 12 to 15% undecided. But check this out, the breakdown of undecided. Men, 10%. Women, 20%. White, just 6%. They've decided. Black, 22%. 1 out of 5 black folks, almost 1 out of 4 black folks have not decided. Who's going to get those votes? Will Helena Moreno get enough to win in the primary? She's right there right now. She's been hovering. The lowest I've seen Helena Moreno is at about 45%. And the highest, this latest poll, 51%. There might have been another one that was at 51. No, the undecided vote, she gets 2, 3, 4, 5 points. A third of that 12 to 15% undecided. She just gets 1/3. It's split up equally. She wins in the primary. She does very well with white so far, but only 6% of white folks are undecided. She does very well with men, but only 10% of men are undecided. She does lead with women, like 3 times Oliver Thomas, 5 times Royce Duplessis. You have 20%, 1 out of 5 female voters in Orleans Parish undecided. And with black males, 22% undecided. Now, this poll has like a 4.5% margin of error. That I would have to think, and we'll talk to Brad Coker coming up in a few minutes. That I would have to think applies to the general poll where Helena Moreno leads 51% to Oliver Thomas's 16 and Royce Duplessis's 11. When you start getting into these demographics like men, women, white, black, I would think the margin of error, I don't want to say skyrockets, but I would imagine it like doubles. I would imagine it's not 4.5%, but maybe more like 9 or 10% margin of error, because you're polling enough people for the general poll. Where you poll any more folks, it's a waste of money. The percentages don't change significantly. But when that number is sort of, it's a minimum number. You know, that's how a poll works. It's like, hey man, 300 people isn't enough, but 600 is, because there's no difference between 600, 6,000, 60,000, or 600,000. We're getting the same result. But with 300, we're getting a mixed result. It's not enough people. So you're taking that 600, which is enough, and I'm just making up the number. I'll ask Brad Coker the specific numbers. But you're taking the 600, and all of a sudden it's watered down if you go with only women or black or white, and it's a smaller percentage. And that number, I would think, has a greater margin of error. We'll find out from Brad Coker what he says about that. Also, Mason-Dixon is polling and strategy. I only knew them as polling, and they're polling and strategy. I'll talk to Brad Coker in a few minutes on how is that not a conflict? How do you guys prevent a conflict there? I've got the latest sheriff's poll, also conducted by Fox 8, or I should say sponsored, paid for by Fox 8. I mean, right now, this is sad. I mean, Woodfork's way, way ahead, like 4.5 times Hudson, but Hudson's in second place by a point or two. And Woodfork's like at 45, and I don't know if she'll get over the hump and win in a primary. So you could have a Woodfork-Hudson runoff. No one wants Hudson around anymore. Don't want her in a runoff. It's sad that she's in second. How could Shorty not be in second place? Clearly, especially after the debate. I think he conducted himself pretty well. I was impressed by him, and Hudson's a joke. Come on, New Orleans, wake up, people. Tyler Robinson accused of murdering Charlie Kirk. They've got their guy, all the everything leads to it. Not cooperating with authorities. Not cooperating with authorities. LSU, thank you, defense. Wins with their defense. Tulane is 3-0. I think it's the third time in half a century, if I'm not mistaken, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. Third time in 50 years, they're 3-0.
Yeah. Going well for both.
They're 30th. They're at number 11, Ole Miss. It's a 2:30 kickoff on ESPN, number 1. It's like their SEC game, but it's with an outside opponent. I will say this and say it with the utmost confidence. One of the single biggest, most significant, most important games in Tulane football history, without a doubt. Hey, every day this program brought to you by Lamarck Ford. Yeah, you're right. The big store in Kenner, brah. And Lamarck Lincoln, also located in Kenner. When you're picking up a vehicle, why would you go anywhere else? You're looking for an F-150, a black label Lincoln SUV, the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, brah.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
That's right. You heard the man. Check us out on the radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. New Orleans own 107.9 FM. Got a couple of AM stations as well. You can find out that info, CoreyTalks.com, as well as where we are on TV, Cox Channel 4, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Spectrum 333 all over the state. Check out our YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. And if you're on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, Elon Musk's social media platform, you can check us out there as well at Corey Johnson. Corey spelled K-A-A-R-E. Latest mayoral poll coming out like Thursday night. We talked about it a little bit on Friday, but we try to decompress on Friday, so I didn't get too deep into it. But today we are, and Brad Coker is with us. He's with Mason Dixon, polling and strategy. Fox 8 hired Mason Dixon to conduct this poll. Brad Coker was the one that conducted it. How are you, Brad?
Doing good.
Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Looking forward to it.
Mason Dixon, couple of locations, right up in the Northeast and one right down the I-10 from us in Jacksonville.
We had DC and Jacksonville. I work out of Jacksonville, but I'm the boss, so I get to live in Florida.
Nice. Smart call, man. It's a nice area. Where was my buddy? Not at St. Augustine, but south. What's the little area just due south of Jacksonville before something Springs?
Well, I mean, south of St. Augustine is Flagler.
No, south of Jacksonville, but north of St. Augustine. It's something Springs, like basically
Cove Springs.
Yeah, maybe a suburb of Jacksonville now. Really nice. He said it was incredible. Anyway, nice part of the country. Hey, Brad, Fox 8, local Fox affiliate here in New Orleans. They reached out to Mason-Dixon and said, hey, we want to conduct a mayoral poll?
Correct.
And do they say, hey, go with these questions? Go, or they, here's a check, conduct the poll, and then you guys come up with the questions? How does all that work, and how much research do you have to do to come up with questions? Or any market, anywhere, the questions are all the same?
Well, the questions vary from poll to poll, depending on the city, the state, the region. But most of what we ask is fairly standard when it comes to election polling, name recognition, voter preference. And there's some issue questions that we formulate. They, more or less give us the general areas they want to cover, and then we formulate questions to go around that. But we've been at it for over 40 years, so it's we sort of have a lot of this stuff already worked out.
Yep, yeah. How many people in a market of New Orleans size? I guess Orleans Parish is about 380,000 folks, something like that. How many people do you have to poll to get an accurate number?
Well, we polled 625 likely voters, but we would use that sample in a statewide poll as well as a local poll. Margin for error, believe it or not, is not really based on the population size. It's, you can do a poll in a big state or a little state, and 625 will get you plus or minus 4%. And the only reason I know that is they taught me that in college 40 years ago.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. A lot of folks are so skeptical when they hear these low numbers. I mean, I'm in radio and television, and Arbitron Nielsen might send out like 300 books. It's like, so 300 people are dictating, who listens. I'm like, they've figured out that 300, 3,000, 30,000, 300,000, the numbers are going to be relatively the same. So that the 625 is like the minimum number where any increase in phone calls, more people participating, irrelevant to the outcome of the poll, correct?
Well, generally, the more you do, the more accurate, but I'll just give you a good example. 625 voters has a margin of error of plus or minus 4.
Yep.
To get to plus or minus 3, you have to double the sample almost to 1,100. So to get that one extra point of accuracy, you double your cost. And most people only do that on a national poll, particularly local polls and statewide polls. 625 is pretty standard.
What do you have to do to get it to 2?
To get it, 2,500.
2,500 gets it to 2%?
Yeah, so you'd have to do 4 times as many calls to get the margin from 4 to 2. And so I've rarely come across that. A couple of occasions, but, you have to have deep pockets. And, a lot of people in the news media, that's out of their range. That's the sort of stuff we do for much, much larger organizations. And even then it's, they're okay with 3% at 1,100. So that's so just sort of economics dictates a lot of this.
The latest poll you guys put together, Helena Moreno would win in a primary today. There's a lot of undecided vote, but she's at 51%. Oliver Thomas at 16. Royce Duplessis is at 11. Those are the hard numbers we can look at where it's a 4% margin of error. Right now, when we get into these smaller demographics, men, women, white, and black, I'm assuming the margin of error, I don't want to say skyrockets, but might double, might be around 10%. I don't. What is the number? Do you know?
Well, with men and women, generally, you're, roughly half and half. I mean, it's a little bit more women than men in the electorate, but yeah, you're talking about 6% on men and women. White voters versus black voters, maybe a little bit higher than that. And then, of course, party registration. The Democratic numbers are fairly strong in terms of margin for error, but there's only 10% of the voters in New Orleans Parish are registered as Republicans, so those are really small numbers. But the margin for error is tighter on Democrats, tighter on white voters than black voters. So again, it's the size of the subsample, and those numbers aren't exactly equal. They're going to be proportional to what's in the electorate.
Brad Coker is with us. Hey, Brad, would you guys take I know y'all are polling and strategy. Would you, if Helena Moreno or Oliver Thomas or Royce Duplessis was like, hey, conduct a poll for us, Mason Dixon, would you do it for a candidate?
No.
No.
I do. I mean, I do some candidate work, but I don't just do Democrats or just do Republicans, and most of it is, small areas, state Senate races, I should say, and I'm doing some mayor's races in cities much smaller than New Orleans for private candidates, but the media in those cities isn't going to pay for a poll in a little city in the middle of Kansas or something.
Gotcha.
But yeah, New Orleans, Memphis, the media will pay for a poll, but you get to Dothan, Alabama, they're not.
Right. No, that makes sense. What about strategy? Yeah. What's the strategy part that Mason Dixon does?
Well, one thing is, we are known for doing polling that gets released to the media and reported on elections. But I would think that 80% of our business now is actually working for private organizations. I mean, we work for, lobbyists. We work for government affairs companies. We work for public policy companies, a lot of, trade associations, people who are involved in involved in government, but more on the legislative side.
So like if a lobbyist hired you, you might conduct a poll and then tell them how to reach their goal.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That's where the strategy comes in. So
gotcha.
Anybody who wants to change a law or wants a law, stop a law from being changed, and that covers a whole lot of territory, uses polling. In some instances, I shouldn't say all of them, but most of them do some sort of polling because they're trying to develop their strategy for, getting their legislation through, or for stopping something, or getting it on the ballot. I do some ballot. Actually, probably more than candidates, I'll do ballot initiative groups that are trying to get things on the ballot, and then once they're on the ballot, we can poll those, constitutional amendments or initiative referendums or whatever. And again, that's not partisan work. So it's it's another sort of untapped area that we've sort of gone into in the last 2 decades. So the strategy comes in there. That's when I take the numbers and we dig real deep in there, and then we're trying to help the media guys develop their plans and the messaging people. But with media poll, I still tell them what I think the numbers mean and caution them. And, this says this, but, keep an eye on this. I mean, one thing that jumps out about this poll that, I noted was that, I've got 15% of the voters undecided, which is, it's about typical this far out from election. But when you dig down in the weeds, what you find out is of the undecided voters, more than 80% of them are African American. So most of the white voters have pretty much made up their mind. They're going heavily for Moreno. That's part of her advantage there. But the black vote is very, very much in play, very fluid. I could see a situation where, either Thomas or Duplessis kind of gets hot and starts to coalesce that vote. And I can see where Moreno might lose some black support if that happens. And if that does happen, then, she probably, is forced into a runoff.
That's so what I was getting.
I'm looking at the black voter numbers and thinking they look very fluid to me.
Yeah, no, that's interesting you say that, because I read a quote where the poll was released, Helena Moreno at 51%, and then you were quoted as saying, I don't think she wins in the primary. And I'm thinking, if there's 15% undecided and she just gets 1/3 of that undecided, she would win maybe in a primary. But you bring up a great point about what's still out there. I'm going to take a quick break, Brad, and come right back if that's okay, if you got a few more minutes.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, great. Brad Coker's with us from Mason Dixon Polling and Strategy. Fox 8 hired Mason Dixon. They released the findings back on Thursday night. Helena Moreno, 51%. Oliver Thomas at 16%. Royce Duplessis at 11%. About 15% undecided, including 22% of the black vote. 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 black voters still undecided. And 20% of female voters undecided, like 1 out of 5. We'll talk with Brad Coker when we come back about that and exactly what all that means. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Hey, Audubon Gutters put gutters on my house. They can do the same for you. You need gutters for your home or business? Stick with New Orleans' own Audubon Gutters. AudubonGutters.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
New Orleans talk giant Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
I'll have the entire city of New Orleans in the palm of my hand.
Every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
Corey Johnson back with you on a Monday afternoon. Brad Coker's our guest for a few more minutes. He's with Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy. They conducted a poll for Fox 8, latest mayoral poll. Helena Moreno at 51%, Oliver Thomas at 16%, Royce Duplessis at 11%. Brad, if you go with what you have right now, Moreno getting 55% of men, 47% of women, 73% of white, 33% of black. Even with the undecided demo the way they are, if she just continued that pacing, she would win in a primary. What keeps that from happening in your mind?
Well, I'm looking at the African American vote, and again, it's fluid. And I've seen this movie a few times. Most recently in the Chicago mayor's race a couple of years ago, where the black vote is sort of floating and divided amongst, multiple candidates. And then sort of late in the game, one of them gets hot. One of them starts to draw the attention, and you start to see shifts, and especially with the number of undecided voters in the community. And the undecided vote is largely black female Democrats.
Yep.
And I can see, that they vote in higher numbers than men.
They vote in. They're the number one voting bloc in the city. They decide elections.
And they are the largest undecided bloc. And I'll play a scenario out, and I'm not predicting anything, but in a way, this reminds me of Chicago's mayor's race a couple of years ago, where you had a white candidate leading the field, and then 4 black candidates more or less dividing votes. And then towards the end, they rallied around this one younger guy. The other 3 were old machine politicians. He was sort of, the new face. And they kind of decided, hey, let's try something new. And he wins and finishes in second place. Now, he was, down 15, 20 points in the first primary. But then after that, they all coalesced around him, and he got elected in the runoff.
Wow.
By a narrow margin. So, if you apply that, and I'm not saying it would happen, but, I look at Duplessis. And I should mention that Thomas has very high negatives. He's been around a while. His negative percentage is about 31%. Duplessis is, less than half that. I could see where people decide, hey, he's maybe the better horse to get with, and he could start to climb. And I think if he were to start to climb, that 33% vote that Moreno's getting in the black community might go down to, 25%. So all of a sudden, 51% now becomes something like 46, 47. And she falls short. Duplessis comes in second, and it's a black majority city. And you get into a one-on-one race, and anything can happen. Happened in Chicago, so I've seen it happen before. But I'm just, I'm painting a scenario. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the numbers are, that these numbers aren't accurate today. But what I am saying is these numbers aren't in stone either.
Yeah, they can change.
They will shift. That undecided will land somewhere. We don't know where, but if you look at the profile of it, if I'm trying to appeal to undecided voters right now, I'm going after, black women. And, maybe Moreno's positioned to do that. Maybe Duplessis can kind of pull that off. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think it's a done deal. I think a runoff is always still a possibility. And, then you get into a one-on-one race, and, black voters outnumber white voters. And, that's when you start to see that's when the real numbers start to fall into place once you get it down to 2 people.
Yeah, a couple of generations ago, it was 70% black New Orleans. Now it's about 58%, as you probably know, Brad. And white voters vote in greater numbers than black voters. Some folks say it's about a 50-50 black-white turnout. Do you know any of those specifics about New Orleans specifically?
I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's still a slight majority of blacks, but again, it's not what it was before. But just something to keep in mind.
Yep.
Chicago is kind of split 3 ways. So there's going to be coalitions that, cross racial lines. And so you just can't put it all in one bucket. But, I'm looking at I'm looking at the voters out there that are soft or who are completely undecided, looking what their profile is, and then looking at the numbers and go, well, something could happen.
Yep.
I remember, hey, look, Louisiana has had some really wild elections in my time, and I never rule anything out when I'm polling in Louisiana. I've seen quite a bit of craziness.
No, you're right.
And,
you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, what would you say when I say Moreno winning in a primary is about a 50-50 chance? Is that a little strong?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. I mean, 51 with a margin of 4 means she's right now probably, she's between 47 and 55, theoretically. But she's right on the threshold, and all things being equal, I think she's maybe a little better than 50-50, but I wouldn't make any heavy bets on it.
Yep. And I guess you don't follow every single thing in this race. Obviously, you do polling. Royce Duplessis put out a TV commercial last week. When did you got how long of a period did you do phone calls on this poll? Like when did you start, Brad, and when did it end?
3 nights, September 8th, 9th, and 10th.
September 8th, 9th, and 10th. All right. Wow. And let's see. I think that TV spot came out last Monday, which would be before the poll before you guys conducted the poll. Royce Duplessis put out his first television commercial, and it was pretty divisive. It was old school, trying to convince us, our city, Royce is one of us, behind the scenes, Helena Moreno held us back. It's a Black female voice. It's a little more sassy than, professional, if you want to call it that. I mean, I'm in radio. We all talk about demographics. I'm wondering if that negative spot in my mind, and I think, and Black and white people that I talk to seem to not like it. I wonder if that hurt Royce Duplessis in your poll.
Well, I would say 2 things. Number one night isn't going to penetrate. It takes a week or 2 for an ad to penetrate. So it was up and running right before we did the poll. So it probably had some impact. But what it does show is I'm sure he's polling and he's seeing the same thing. It's Black, the undecided vote are Black women.
Yep.
And that's where I think he tries to pull Moreno down and try to leapfrog Thomas. And it's a very, very targeted appeal. And naturally, when you do that, you sort of, I don't want to say offend, but you're not appealing to other voters, perhaps to the extent where you've written them off. So I think he sees kind of what I'm seeing is that would be his path to a runoff, is to, get a big bounce out of these undecided Black women, pull Moreno under 50, and then have him leapfrog Thomas. And then, then you're one-on-one, and you start the second half with the score tied.
Yeah, no, exactly.
To me, it makes sense that he's doing that. But how much of that is showing up in the poll? I suspect some. But, a television ad, they take, a couple of weeks sometimes to penetrate. People don't watch, I hate to say this, TV station sponsored the poll, but people don't get their news exclusively from television anymore. They're looking for information on the web. They're on YouTube. They're on TikTok. It's a little different world than it was 20 years ago. And political advertising isn't just print and radio. Social media is a much bigger draw and can be narrowcast much better. So you got to take that into effect. I'd be interested to know what he was doing on social media with the same piece.
Yeah. 22% Black undecided, 6% white, and it's 20% women undecided. So I would assume that with it 22% Black and only 6% white, and it's 20% women, that of the 20% women, it's at least 15, like at least 75% plus of that 20% are Black women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It goes hand in hand.
Gotcha. No, of course, just because
they're female, they're African American, and they're Democrats.
Yep. So of the 15% undecided, maybe like 2/3 or 75% of it is female Black.
Well, 2/3 of it is female, 82% of it is Black. So the real number is probably in the middle.
Yeah.
70-ish.
Yeah. Wow. All right. It's interesting knowing that info. I've said from day one, Black women will decide this race because they're the number one voting bloc in the city. Black females will decide this mayoral race. And literally at crunch time, it's coming down to that, with maybe somewhere in the neighborhood you were talking about of Black female voters still undecided.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
And go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say, yeah, they're sitting back and waiting to see, where they want to go.
Yeah.
So they're going to be very thoughtful voters. They're not knee jerk reacting to any one of the three leading candidates right now. I think they're trying to, whittle it through, and they still could go for Moreno. Just sort of say, hey, let's go with the woman, and she is city council president, so she's not completely unknown. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that go through people's minds before they vote. But it is interesting. They are, the outcome of the election, at least this first round, they can make or break whether or not it's going to be a runoff, and they can make or break who finishes in second place and gets into that runoff. I mean, the one thing this poll tells me is Moreno, in worst case scenario, is going to go into a runoff.
Yeah.
And finish somewhere in the mid 40s at worst. And then, that's still a pretty good number to start from in a runoff situation, but it'll shake things up once once it becomes a binary choice. And we didn't really mention it, but the Republican candidate actually gets some votes. They're all from Republicans who are about, 10% of the vote in the city, but he's getting a third of the Republican voters, so it gives him a few percentage points. Don't think he makes the runoff, but where do Republicans go in a Democrat on Democrat runoff? Maybe that helps Moreno. I would probably think, but little things like that you sort of have to keep an eye on. But yeah. What we don't know is the two unknowns is, did Moreno make it over 50? And if she does not, will Thomas or Duplessis get the other spot? And that's still, in my opinion, it's very much up in the air.
Yeah, no, it seems that way. Right now, your poll has Moreno with 33% of the black vote, Thomas with 27%. So that's pretty tight. And clearly falling in the margin of error when we're breaking down that demographic. I mean, they could be equal. And Royce Duplessis is at 16, like halfway behind with margin of error. He could be a little closer than that. So no, it's interesting with that black female vote, the big demographic that's undecided, the biggest of the demographic that's undecided.
Well, if you take the three leading candidates, Moreno is familiar to basically 98% of the voters in the city. 88% are familiar with Thomas. Now, 84% are familiar with Duplessis, but 44% say they just know his name. They don't know much about him.
Yep.
So, that's where Duplessis is. He's starting to get name recognition. People are starting to know who he is, but you've got 60% of the voters in the city. Have you just heard his name, know who he is, or they don't even know who he is. So that's what I call growth potential. If your two opponents are pretty much universally known, and you're kind of the new voice, the new face.
Yep.
People don't know you. You've got that breakout potential, and that's what happened. I've seen this happen in other races, and most recently it was in Chicago. And so I kind of look at Duplessis, and I don't know. If Moreno comes in under 50, I have a feeling he's going to make the runoff.
Wow, interesting.
Not betting the house, but if there's a runoff, I kind of think it's going to be Moreno Duplessis.
Brad Coker from Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Enjoyed it myself.
Thanks again. That's Brad Coker from Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy. Corey Johnson with you, coming right back.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole-Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson, where the grass hasn't been cut in weeks or months. There's a lot of trash and garbage on the neutral ground, maybe even a person or two taking a nap. And oh, someone didn't pick up the dog.
Oh, boy, you got to bring a bag. You got to bring a bag with you when you've got a dog. Not when I was a kid. That started like, I don't know, maybe like 30, 40 years ago. There's maybe like a neighbor or two that had like a sign like clean your poop, or like a little dog going to the bathroom with a red circle and a line going through it, like maybe when I was a kid. And that almost made you want to bring the dog to that person's yard and have it go on that yard and leave. But no, now you have to pick up. It's just how things are. It's supposed to be that way. Times change, you shouldn't leave that on the yard. I remember anytime we'd go to someone's yard to play a football game, like touch or tackle football, we'd have to kind of check out the yard real quick to make sure there was no bombs anywhere. Boy, what a nice day in Metro New Orleans. 85 degrees, 50% humidity. Yeah, you right type weather. Boy, Mario Brothers, it's so funny. I'm going to the bank drive-through. And basically this drive-through I go to, they've got 4 slots, and slots 1 and 2, like 1 was up against the bank building and it used to have like the rollout drawer, and they just block that off. So that the drawer has a big metal plate. So that slot number 1 in the drive-through isn't a slot anymore. Slot number 2, there's no tube thing there to accept a tube. So if you pull up, slots 1 and 2 don't even have a sign like open or close. Slots 3 and 4 have the open or close. And then slot 5 is an ATM slot, okay? They're all going in the direction, they're going in. Pretty much everyone at this bank, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people, I'm not the only one that does it, we go against the grain, like the wrong way, through slots 1 and 2, which aren't open for bank business, and then hook like a big U-turn in the parking lot to do your banking business in slots 3 and 4. Is that making sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So we're going the wrong way through slots that are closed and there's no banking business going on, then hooking a big U-turn and coming back to the ones that are open to make a deposit. So I go do that today at my local bank. There's a dude on a 4-wheeler coming up the side of the building, and I see him, so I go into slot 2 instead of slot 1, and he's coming up at slot 1. And as I'm going through 2, he's looking at me like, you crazy loon, you're going the wrong way. You know? And I clearly saw him. Yeah, two things. I mean, in theory, I guess he's right, you know, but I'm not the only one that does it. It's sort of like the old left on red, you know, you turn on a green light and some have a left on red's permitted. Some it didn't, but it's such a short neutral ground. People run it. People do it, yeah. And it's every morning, every day. There could be a cop right there and they're not pulling people over. This is how the bank operates. That people, never have they told me, hey, you need to go around. Not only when you go through the slots that are closed, there's a big metal plate, so it makes a big ka-clunk noise. Inside the bank, they hear the ka-clunk noise, and they know someone just went the wrong way and is hooking a U-turn to come back into the bank. Man. Never have they told me in hundreds of times making a deposit or doing bank business, hey, Corey, don't come the wrong way like you do every time. I mean, I've rarely gone through the right way. And I've followed other people doing it. But anyway, this three-wheeler dude looks at me like I'm drunk. It's like, you're on a four-wheeler, I say. You're on a four-wheeler, no helmet. You're driving on a public street. You've come into a bank. You know, it's like, I'm the guy that's the problem. I mean, I just laughed. I mean, I'm like, I see him. I kind of like nodded at him like, I see you. And he's looking at me like, you're going the wrong way in a bank. I'm like, wow. Okay, Mr. Four-wheeler.
That's crazy. People be driving crazy stuff.
It's like cutting off the, you know, bank criminal in the getaway car and he's going to yell at you. It's like, really?
Pretty much.
Anyway, there haven't been as many four-wheelers thanks to the NOPD proactively policing, not reactively policing, coupled with Troop NOLA that can pursue. No, a few folks got their four-wheelers confiscated. Word on the street got around. And now on Sundays, you don't have a bunch of guys running around in four-wheelers or dirt bikes in big groups. Doesn't happen anymore. The drifting, no more car drifting. You don't see that anymore in New Orleans because people got arrested and their car was confiscated. And then, you know, when they arrest these kind of folks, the drifting crew, sometimes it might just be young kids doing the drifting thing. And sometimes it's young kids doing the drifting things so they have guns and drugs in the car. Mario Brothers, one time they were doing drifting. I'm not kidding you. A van was there with a bunch of tires and rims and jacks to replace tires and rims on cars so they could continue drifting after a blowout. Man. Like wrecking a set of tires and then just replace them. Yeah, it's NASCAR. What's that, Blue Boy? You don't like drifting? You don't like four-wheelers on the street that are unlicensed to be there? And you don't like carjacking. You're right, Blue Boy. But you do like human food in your kibble, yeah? And going on nice long walks when the weather's like it is now. 5 o'clock powwow next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Sounds like the 5 o'clock power hour on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us, New Orleans and beyond. Had a good 4 o'clock hour. Brad Coker joined us from Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy, talking about the latest mayoral poll. That's right, Drew Brees. It is New Orleans. Helena Moreno at 51%. Oliver Thomas at 16%. Royce Duplessis at 11%. But the number one voting demographic in the city, Black female voters, they're the folks that decide elections in New Orleans. Black female voters, number one voting demographic in the city by far. They make up the majority of the 15% undecided. And then if there was some momentum with Oliver Thomas or Royce Duplessis, there could be some Black female voters that are locked and loaded right now with Helena Moreno that see the momentum building on the other side with one of the other candidates, a Black male candidate, where maybe they abandon Moreno and go in that direction. I asked Brad Coker if my 50-50 Moreno wins in a primary is accurate. He said that's pretty accurate. He thinks it's about a 50-50 chance that Helena Moreno wins in a primary. When push comes to shove, kind of going against his own poll, Moreno, 51%. Oliver Thomas, 16%. Royce Duplessis, 11%. He thinks if there's a runoff, it'll be Moreno and Duplessis. I think that commercial Duplessis put out before this poll was conducted, and the controversy that it received may have hurt Duplessis. But he can rebound with better commercials and putting that, in the rearview mirror. He will be joining us live in studio right here on Thursday around 4:20. This Thursday, Royce Duplessis live in studio on the program. We'll find out his platform, everything. Talk about this poll, black female voters. Now, you've got 20% women undecided, 22% black folks undecided, 6% white. You can just figure it out with 15% undecided. Probably about 70% of that 15% undecided are black females. So if hypothetically Oliver Thomas or Royce Duplessis were to garner most of those votes and have some black females that are presently voting for Helena Moreno abandon her and jump on the momentum wagon, not only would there not be a runoff, but it would be Helena Moreno against either Oliver Thomas or Royce Duplessis, and then a lot of the person who came in third's votes would go to anyone but Helena Moreno. So it could get interesting. I still think Helena Moreno, 50-50 chance, wins in the primary and will win in a runoff. Will win in a runoff. But if you're Oliver Thomas or Royce Duplessis, all you're trying to do right now is make the runoff. That's all you're trying to do. And then after October 11th to November 15th, you got 4.5 weeks, brand new election, hit the reset button and go from there. Boy, the Fox 8 also hired Mason Dixon. They did a sheriff's poll. Woodfork at 45%. Hudson's at 10%. Shorty's at like 8%. It could be a Woodfork Hudson runoff. How is Hudson even getting 10% with her terrible record? And then Woodfork's at 45, like not enough to win in a primary. I don't care if this race goes to a runoff or not. I just want it to be Woodfork and Shorty, not Hudson in that runoff at all. Want her just to simply go away. Go away and never be seen again. What an absolutely embarrassing sheriff. So many problems, very few positives. And then the negatives, too many to name. When they come up, she constantly blames someone else, never, ever taking responsibility for the jail she runs and constantly pushing it off on someone else. No, just as an elected official, a public official, supposed to be civic-minded, working for us, this is about as bad of an example as one as you can come up with. About as bad as it gets. Hey, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latin X at the controls, fielding your phone calls if you'd like to jump in the ball game, 766-9480. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 shot Moreno wins in the primary. And black women, as always, will decide this race. And right now, they're not only the largest demographic in general, the largest demo of undecided voters. So Helena Moreno, Oliver Thomas, Royce Duplessis, from now until October 11th, they are going after the black female voters in New Orleans, especially the undecided. And the ones they have on their team, the black folks that Helena Moreno, Oliver Thomas, Royce Duplessis have on their team, they're going to send those women out and please go recruit other black females so we can win this race. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. It's a Martell Monday. Brett Martell's going to join us in about 30 minutes. But first, where are we heading? To the east, you said? Oh, just New Orleans, not the east. In New Orleans, Rob joins us. What you say, Rob?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the moment of silence at the Saints game yesterday for Charlie Kirk, which I found that completely inappropriate. And this whole Charlie Kirk thing is really crazy. You got there was half mast in Louisiana nationwide. The vice president took Air Force Two, got him. The guy's, he's a media figure. Normally that stuff is reserved for government people and military people. But I mean, I know he's a very divisive figure. I don't think he was some great guy, just by his own words. He said, it was worth it to have gun deaths. He said black women don't have brain processing power. He said,
some of the gun death thing. He said, like what he said, it's a sad sort of, incidental of freedom of speech. He wasn't.
I'll tell you what he said. I've got his exact quote. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. I don't agree.
Okay. I got you. I thought from what I remember, it was about the First Amendment, but you're saying it's about gun. Yeah, that's a little extreme. And then, but I mean, I think to have the Second Amendment, you're going to have gun deaths. So, I mean, and then the second quote you're about to make, I think is taken out of context. I already know where you're going. And I'm not defending Charlie Kirk.
Well, I will also say this. He said when Nancy Pelosi's husband got beat with a hammer in his head, he said that a patriot should bail him out. But here's the thing.
He did say that.
I'm not here to argue the merits of him. I'm just questioning this. And it wasn't just the Saints. I think 6 other NFL teams did it yesterday.
No. All but 6 did it.
All
but 6 did it. And supposedly the 6 that didn't, they had a moment of silence for George Floyd. No, this is it's sickening. It's all left versus right. It's this divisive crap. But you bring up some valid points. I'm sitting here trying to think. There has to have been some actor or, popular figure that had nothing to do with military or government that was so beloved. And I'm not saying Charlie Kirk's like Dolly Parton, like universally beloved, but there had to be someone.
I didn't know who he was, but
what's that?
The thing is, I didn't know who he was, but the whole thing about the moment of silence and and to your point a bit about it just being very. It's a divisive thing. I've got a theory on why these politicians Trump and Jeff Landry did it, and then the vice president. It's not that, politicians, they BS a lot and they say, this guy was, so-and-so is great for the country. And meanwhile, they're pushing their own agenda. Charlie Kirk was great for Trump. He helped get him elected.
Yep.
He got J.D. Vance elected to the Senate. He also was very influential in getting J.D. Vance the VP pick. I saw, what's her name, Melanie Levitt, the spokesperson for Trump, say, I'm going to think about him every day the rest of my life. Charlie Kirk, I don't think was good for this country. I think, they said that he would have open debates and all that. I've been watching him now. That wasn't open debates. The guy is brilliant, actually. He's an incredible rhetorician, if that's the right word, and he can just scorch people. But what I'm seeing from the Trump, and this is very typical of politicians, Charlie Kirk was good for Donald Trump, and he was good for J.D. Vance, and he was good for Melanie Levitt. I'm not sure how good he was for the country, but I'm just questioning, getting back to the NFL thing, how much of the NFL is public money? Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of public money that goes in. And did you know that the NFL is a not-for-profit corporation?
Yes.
And that Roger Goodell makes $40 million a year.
Yeah, more than that. So, he makes about $1 million a week.
The whole thing. I just thought the moment of silence was like when was the last time that a left-wing person had a moment of silence? But here's much more important.
I guess George Floyd. That's the problem. Politics should not be injected into this at all. But Rob, the problem is politics have been injected by the left and the right. It's these extremists. They're the squeaky wheels. They're the ones getting the grease. Everyone else, and it's the clear majority. We sit in the middle and just sort of take it. I'm hoping that this political stuff ends where we don't inject politics into stuff ever, so the other side can't claim the other side did it, on and on and on. I got to run to the break. Rob, thanks for the call. Thanks for the points. I think you make some really valid points, something for folks to think about. There's no doubt about it. We're coming right back on a Monday. Isn't it time to have that dream backyard you've always wanted? LGD Lawn and Landscapes can make it happen with artificial turf installation. Synthetic turf gives you the look and feel of natural grass.
You get a beautiful lawn without the ongoing expenses of maintenance and no puddles, meaning you won't be tracking grass or dirt into the house. Let LGD come to your house and give you a free estimate. NOLALGD.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. Thoughtful conversation, common sense. Corey Johnson.
With all due respect, Mr. Dent, I had no idea you'd gotten experimental surgery to have your removed.
Live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
What was that? Whoa, I said with all due respect.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for joining us. 5 o'clock power hour on a Monday afternoon. Brett Martell from the Associated Press is about 15 minutes away. LSU, number 3 in the land. They win with defense. LSU's defense is already national championship caliber. If LSU's offense literally can be half as good as the defense, LSU has a really good chance of winning the national championship. If you remember when they won it in 2019, the defense in the beginning of the year wasn't some lights out defense. They almost lost to Auburn. Then the offense just started cruising. They were unstoppable, and then the defense caught its stride, and they got good the second half of the year, especially the last quarter, and were pretty damn good, and LSU won it all. This LSU defense is dominant. It is hard to score points on this LSU defense. I don't care what team you have. But LSU's offense, sadly, is fairly inept right now. Like, the plays aren't being called, aren't really good plays so far, or defenses just happen to be countering them perfectly. LSU has no running game. Nussmeier right now is just sort of average, even though we know he can be very, very, very good. No, LSU is winning with defense. If the offense doesn't play Well, it could be like a few years ago where Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman and the offense is powerful and the defense was weak, was a liability. That's why LSU went 9-3. If LSU had a defense like this year, that team would have won the national championship with Jaden Daniels. So if LSU's offense can get on track, LSU has a very good chance of winning the national championship because their defense is stout. 30th ranked Tulane is 3-0. 3-0 for only the third time in the last half century. They're at number 11 Ole Miss. Saturday, 2:30 in Oxford. It's on ESPN, nationwide television audience. This is one of the single biggest, most important, most significant games in Tulane football history. This is as big as it gets. Any game, any time in the history of Tulane football. Like 125 plus years of Tulane football. Now, Tulane wins in Oxford against Ole Miss. They are fully in the driver's seat to go to the playoff, but it's still not easy. You got to run the gauntlet, win the conference, and literally win it. Like in the championship game, you'll probably be playing South Florida. You'll have to beat them. And then you do that, you're undefeated, and you beat Ole Miss and Duke and Northwestern and won the conference and the conference championship. You're in the 12-team playoff no matter what. Tulane could lose to Ole Miss. If they play them well, run the conference, win the championship, they're in the playoff at 11-1. But this is as big as it gets. And Tulane will be focused and Tulane will be ready. And here's a nice little plus for you Green Wave fans. A week after the Tulane game in Oxford, Ole Miss hosts another Louisiana team, LSU. So chances are some of those players are going to be looking past Tulane and looking forward to the big SEC matchup against number 3 LSU. How can they not? Hopefully some of the coaches are doing the same thing. Hopefully that trickles down to permeates that Rebel team, and Tulane goes up there focused, and John Sumrall pulls an upset. Ole Miss is 3-0. They're 11th in the land. This is as huge as it gets. ESPN, recruiting, nationwide television audience. Hey, Tulane Athletic Department. Hey, President Fitz. What more do you want? Tulane at Ole Miss. 2 undefeated teams on ESPN. Enrollment, people interested in the university. All this does is help. It's millions and millions of dollars in marketing for absolutely nothing. Just the investment in the football program, which you kind of do sort of half-ass over there on Ben Weiner Drive. I don't see ants on the sugar cube on that bubble on Claiborne. Are there any construction workers presently working on that bubble on Claiborne? Every time I drive by, weekend, weekday, middle of the day, morning, afternoon, I don't see much going on there. And the $150 million football operations center, which, by the way, is vital for Tulane to join a major conference because Tulane's not Title IX compliant right now. I swear, Mario, I think Tulane's hoping the NCAA goes away, which they're gonna, and then Title IX might go away. I'm serious. I think that's what Tulane's hoping for. Hey, if that happens, we won't have to build the $150 million football facility. We don't have to be Title IX compliant. And then we'll just go get the next John Sumrall when he leaves and goes and gets another job, because we've already proven Willie Fritz, Sumrall, we just go to these smaller schools with the up-and-coming coach, and it's a guarantee you're going to be able to pull that off every time. Just very short-sighted, so reactive, not proactive. And it's a shame because the football program, John Sumrall, first class. He's a badass. He's a winner. But Tulane's athletic department has a little bit to be desired. Yep, the single biggest football game maybe in the history of Tulane this Saturday afternoon in Oxford against number 11 undefeated Ole Miss. I love that it's an SEC game too. Old school, where Tulane was. The Saints have, I would say, improved from last year without a doubt. that Carr, Dennis Allen team last year was very difficult to watch. Kellen Moore might be a good coach. So far, so good. There's some mistakes and mishaps that I don't like, but you're talking about, one could argue this Saints roster has the least talent of any NFL team. You could make that argument. They're in the bottom 5 when it comes to NFL talent. No, they're 0-2. They could easily be 2-0. They were in both ball games. And that's all I talked about. I mean, Mario Brothers, how many times did I say that? They're going to lose a lot of games this year where they're in them at the end because they run out of gas. They run out of quality players. The other team's got better players. The other team's a playoff caliber team. They know how to win, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, at least they were close both games, and at least you saw improvement from one week to the other. Like it was a 7-point loss, then a 5-point loss.
Yep.
Right. And I was looking at specific things, like they had less penalties. They ran the ball better compared to the first game. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's the NFL, no participation
Rattler's
trophies.
pretty solid in 2 starts. I don't see a rattled Rattler.
Yeah,
I see a guy who kind of sees what's going on out there at a pretty good level.
Yeah, starting to feel bad for him because, like, he's never really played that bad, but if the losses keep stacking up, I feel like eventually, fair or unfair, they will turn to Shuck.
Oh, maybe. No, maybe so. Maybe so. But so far, I would not blame anything on Rattler.
No, he's like the 12th biggest problem on the team or something.
No, and I would say you could argue he's an asset right now with this team.
Yeah.
With this team, not a problem, an asset.
He's savvy. You can tell he's building from the experiences, like the running for the first downs, making the reads. A lot of times he'll miss the throws. He's inaccurate, but he's making the reads. He was not doing that last year.
Here's the bottom line, and it's just, I mean, you can say that's just Corey's little theory, whatever. You can count the star players on any NFL roster. I'm talking like star players, universally accepted as star players, could start and be a star on any team in the league. The winning teams that have 10, 11, 12, 13 wins, they got 10, 11, 12, 13 star players. It's almost for every star player you have equals a win. I remember when the Saints were 7-9 for 3 straight years. I could list about 4 or 5 star players. One of them was Thomas Morstead. So when your punter is one of your star players and you can't come up with any more after that, you're going to win 7 games 3 times in a row. That was Peyton's offense and Breeze carrying to 7 wins because they only had about 4 or 5 star players. This Saints team maybe has 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4. That equates to 3 or 4 wins. Go look at the teams that you think are great in the NFL. Pull up their roster. Just Google it. Even if you're just sort of a, so-so fan, not fully entrenched, you get a highlighter out, you'll be able to highlight 10, 12, 13 great players on that team. Each player equals a win, essentially. It's not some universal thing, but it's pretty damn accurate. And when the Saints were winning 10, 11, 12, 13 games and going deep in the playoffs and making runs like that, there are about 10 or 12 great players on the roster, like 10 or 12. No, the Saints just don't have the guns. They do not have the talent. They're not going to get it. It's not going to evolve. The older players like Cameron Jordan, game 1, played really, really well. Yesterday, not like game 1. Demario Davis playing pretty good last couple of games. I just don't know. These guys have to keep playing like they're young, and then these young, inexperienced players and rookies, they got to play like they've been in the league 5-6 years. And then Rattler has to play at a, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels sort of level, like in that direction. There's just too much to ask. Too many things have to fall in place. But one thing, I don't give a crap about the Saints record. I know everybody's focused on the record. I'd love them to win games. I think they're going to win about 3 or 4 games. I just want to keep seeing what I've been seeing. The 53-man roster they have with probably 20 guys that aren't going to be on this team in a couple of years. If Kellen Moore gets this team playoff caliber in a couple of seasons and they're a good team, there's at least 20, 25 players on this team that will not be on that team in a year, 18 months from now. Like 20, 25 players won't be on the team that are on it right now. So no, as long as they put the effort forth, as long as they seem to be well coached, and they're in ball games like they have been the last 2, I'm not going to sweat the Saints too much. Corey Johnson with you. Hey, Thursday, Royce Duplessis joins us live in studio. I've got an interesting guy joining us. Go Google this if you play golf. It's unbelievable. It's a local New Orleans guy. It's called Lombardi Putters. He makes putters and for better prices than the competition and really starting to pick up momentum. It's like the Marucci Bats out of Baton Rouge, just like Louisville Sluggers, like number 2 in Major League Baseball to this Marucci Bat Company out of Baton Rouge, right on the LSU campus, essentially. I didn't go with my mommy and daddy yesterday, my mom, I should say, and brother and sister to Lebanon's, but I'll be there this week. They're open till 9:30 tonight for dinner, as good as it gets. Lebanon's
For
Cafe.
game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Not a politician or part of a political machine. Corey Johnson.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Hey, they're not open tonight, but they'll be open tomorrow, Tuesday through Friday for lunch, and they'll be open tomorrow, Tuesday through Saturday night for dinner. I'm talking about Gallagher's 527. You South Shore folks that love to eat, if you haven't been to Gallagher's 527, you're truly missing out. I promise you two things. If you take the short trip across the lake with family or friends, it's easy, it's relaxing. 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center to Gallagher's 527. I promise you two things. One, You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. You're going to be like, that was a great dining experience. Corey's right on the money. And 2, you're going to be like me. You're going to be a regular at Gallagher's 527. Like, even on the South Shore, I'm heading over to Mandeville like at least once a month. I was there last week for lunch. Met a client over there. I said, man, we got to meet on the North Shore. Let's meet at Gallagher's 527. Unbelievable. So good. And these lunch specials, $21. The $21 lunch special at Gallagher's with a salad, a choice of 3 different entrees, soft shell crab, shish kebab, and then dessert, $21. Ridiculously hard to beat. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. So damn good. It's a little after 5:30. It's Monday. Sounds like it's time for a Martell Monday. Brett Martell joins us. He's been with the Associated Press for nearly 30 years. How you doing, Brett? Brett, are you there? Wait, I think we got you now, Brett. You there?
Yep, I'm here. I'm here.
Thanks so much for joining us again.
Sure.
Hey, Brett, before we get into it, because we always jam this in at the end, how can folks check out your stuff via the AP, the articles, the columns that you produce?
Sure. The AP News app is easy and free to get on a smartphone, gives you news from all over the world, not just sports. Obviously, the AP has been around since 1846, just
Wow.
6 years after Antoine's opened in the French Quarter. And so, yeah, it's old news agency, you're all over the place. And I'm kind of the sport in this region. I'm in charge of what goes on in Mississippi, but generally, in person, I cover, the Saints, Pelicans, LSU mostly, sometimes Tulane. And on that app, you can find that stuff, and also apnews.com on, a laptop on the web.
Yep. Boy, what a great weekend last weekend was. You going into it, I mean, just all 3 local teams at home, all huge games. 6:30 Tiger Stadium, number 3 LSU, Florida, SEC, big time game. Napier and the Florida program reeling. They desperately need a win. They got more tough games ahead of them, so you knew they were coming in ready. Tulane and Uptown at Yulman taking on Duke with Mensa, the old QB from the wave from last year. Big game for them. And then the Saints and the Niners in the Dome. Morstead coming back. Saints trying to get a win. So big weekend of football, Brett. Let's start with LSU. LSU's defense won it. LSU's defense has won every game this year, essentially. LSU's defense, I would say, is national championship caliber. If the offense can be half as good as the defense is, they got a chance to make the playoffs and make a run for the national title, Brett. If the defense is dominant the whole year and the offense does what it's been doing so far, it'll just be a flip-flop of the Jaden Daniels 9-3 team. Instead of a potent offense and a Heisman winner there, it'll be a potent defense, and you wish you had an offense. That team had a defense with Jaden Daniels. They might win the national title that year. This team has a chance if the offense can get on track. Do you agree, Brett?
I think if this defense was on the Jaden Daniels team, they would have won the national
Yep.
championship. I mean, they would have basically rivaled the 2019 team for one of the most dominant teams in the history of college football. But it's hard to get both in the same year. A lot of teams have one unit that's really strong and they lean on it. The weird thing about this LSU team was that all the talk was about the offense coming into the season. People weren't sure how good the defense was going to be. I mean, it was the second year under Blake Baker, the coordinator. They had a lot of new players coming in, transfers and so forth. And so far they've been pretty much lights out. Now, I mean, Clemson has struggled in a few of its games. And so, it may take a little luster off the defensive performance on the road against those guys in the opening game. But, I think against Florida, they, again, very, very dominant. The LSU defense does tend to play better at home, but it just seems like you have a good pass rush. They're good in the run. Harold Perkins is being deployed in the way that he had played best in the past a couple seasons ago.
Yep.
Which is allowing him to really cause problems for quarterbacks when they try to get out of the pocket. And then the defensive backs are are doing a great job anticipating throws, stepping in front, and intercepting passes.
No, this defense is stout. They've got a great starting 11. They got about 5 or 6 guys that come off the bench and are as good as the starters. Guys flying around, gang tackling. I mean, you lose weeks at linebacker early, and that defense doesn't miss a beat. It's going to be very, very hard for teams to score consistently on that LSU defense all season long. No, it all boils down to the offense, and there's talent there. I mean, they're loaded at wide receiver. They've got a great quarterback potentially. I mean, I don't know if it's the O-line's a problem or running back or what, but right now that offense is struggling, Brett.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, just when you think about them having a kind of a fifth-year senior quarterback who threw for over 4,000 yards last year and is expected to be a leading Heisman candidate this year, it's a little bit of a disappointing start for them. Having a lot of drives stall out. They had to punt like 7 times, and then he threw what Kelly obviously thought was an inexplicable interception. I mean, even for Nussmeier, it was a bad one because he was known for being aggressive, taking a lot of shots, maybe trying to squeeze in tight windows downfield and or in the end zone and having turnovers that way. But this was like the Brett Favre interception in the NFC Championship game where he was scrambling to his right and threw across his body to his left on a play that was going nowhere, and they were already in field goal range and trying to put distance, between them and Florida. And so Kelly was furious. He followed Nussmeier all the way over to the bench when Nussmeier crossed the sideline and went to sit down and was in his face for a bit. And he seemed to be just leaning in front of him and saying, "Why? What were you thinking?" And I understand Kelly's frustration because he spent 9 months saying, our main goal for this season is for Garrett to understand that it was a good play. If he can just understand that and not, and just abort bad plays without any loss of yardage and just losing the down, we can recover. But if he, doesn't take 0 and goes for something more risky, you end up with something like that. So.
Brett Martell's with us from the Associated Press. Brian Kelly kind of had a little meltdown. Michael Cauble, I think, from WBRZ Channel 2, the sports director there, asked a question that I would have asked. I mean, I probably would have said something like, "Good win, coach. But the last 3 games, the offense hadn't really put up, some prolific numbers, actually has struggled at times. Are you concerned about the offensive output?" He was a little more direct and, was just into the running game struggling, and Kelly had a meltdown, and then, Michael Cauble stood his ground and repeated the question essentially again, specifically about the running game, and Kelly freaked out. But today, opening his Monday press conference, he apologized and said he has to do a better job with the media. I thought that was the right call. I thought the coach was wrong. I thought the guy from Channel 2 did a right job with a legitimate question. As a fan, I'm concerned about the offense. I want my reporters to ask those questions. I don't want all the, butt kissing and, there's a nervousness amongst sports media covering LSU and the Saints. Like, you're not going to get access unless you kind of are friendly and nice. And I think that's a nightmare. And I applaud Michael Cauble and Coach Kelly for recognizing it.
Yeah, I think that Kelly is tough to read sometimes because he has, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him. Obviously, he thought he had gone a little too far, with his comments. But I will say, I don't think Kelly really so much had a meltdown as he's a little socially awkward and he has kind of this dry, ironic sense of humor. And sometimes he can get very excitable when he's trying to make a point. Because if you were watching him, his eyes were kind of smiling the whole time when he was talking. And then later, like when Koki Riley from The Advocate asked about the defensive back by the 2 interceptions, Kelly put his arms out to his side and said, "That's a great question."
Oh, no, the next 2 questions, great question. You're my favorite. I like you. Yeah,
you're my favorite reporter. And he was kind of, in a way, like if you look at it all in context, Kelly was almost making fun of himself at the same time that he was
No, he probably realized in the middle of the rant that this isn't right.
Maybe, but I mean, I think like I saw Kelly in the hallway afterwards, and he was smiling, and I said, "What?" He said, "Can you believe the first question they asked me is about the offense?" And I said, "Well, what if it was like the 10th question?" And he said, "The 10th question would have been fine."
No, I get a little of that. I mean, I think there's some validity to that. I probably would have waited let some other reporters ask some questions because it was a win and then ask it. But I think Cauble did a fine job. Hey, Brett, number 30, Tulane is 3-0. Third time in the last half century they're 3-0. They're at number 11, Ole Miss, this Saturday, 2:30 kickoff, nationwide TV audience on ESPN number 1. I would say this is the single biggest, most important, most significant game in the history of Tulane football. You could argue this is as big as any game they've ever played, Brett.
Yeah, you could make that argument. The Cotton Bowl is up there, right? And they beat USC, and I think in a way that was a transformative win to beat USC in the Cotton Bowl, like Tulane. Like
that's probably the greatest win in Tulane football history.
And so that was at the time one of the biggest games of going into it because there was an opportunity to win a bowl game against a legendary power conference program with a very good quarterback at the time. So this though, because if they win,
hey Brett, Mario's saying hold that thought for a second.
Okay.
The break train's coming down the tracks. We'll pick it up right on the other side. Brett Martell's with us from the AP.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Total Maintenance Kings. TM-AC.com. No cool spots. TM-AC.com. No cool spots.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, Some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. Lebanon's Cafe.
Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
All kind of seafood goodies tonight at Katie's in Mid-City. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? I know it's a Monday. You're like, man, where are we going to dinner tonight? What am I going to get for dinner tonight? I got the problem solved for you. Katie's in Mid-City, Iberville Corner, Tallahassee. Already a ridiculously extensive menu, chock full of great local fresh seafood. And then Scott Craig every day goes to his local seafood purveyor and grabs all the fresh stuff they got. The freshest stuff, the recently caught stuff. And it's funny. He'll be like, I got 13 soft shell crab. I got 15 speckled trout fillets. You know, I got 18 flounder. When they're gone, they're gone. Tonight for dinner, make it Katie's in Mid-City. Monday, 5 o'clock power hour. Kind of a nice afternoon out there. Get outside, enjoy it. Temperatures in the low 80s, low humidity. Kind of nice. Brett Martell's with us from the Associated Press. Hey, Brett, we were talking about the Green Wave, one of the single biggest games in the history of the program. Tulane wins, gets to 4-0. A few things are going to happen. A, they're going to get into the top 25. B, they totally control their destiny to make the playoffs. They take on the conference that they're favored in. They probably play South Florida in the championship game. Take care of business. They're in the 12-team playoff. They could lose to Ole Miss and run the table and will probably be in the 12-team playoff. But a win in Oxford, humongous. And I'll end it with this, Brett. Ole Miss could be looking ahead. The following week, they're back home in Oxford against number 3 LSU.
Yeah, you know, the only reason they might be looking ahead, but, you know, if you look at a Tulane team that's, now, granted, Northwestern's having a rough time and Duke is having a rough time, but Tulane has defeated a Big Ten team and a ACC team already this year. So, you know, this isn't, you know, your typical mid-major. This isn't like Arkansas State or someone coming in to, you know, or Georgia State coming into Oxford. This is a dangerous mid-major opponent now.
But also, Brett, like, I think locally that's big for us, the fans of Tulane, not you. I mean, the fans, and, you know, you're winning against a Big Ten, you're winning against an ACC opponent. That's great for Tulane Power 4. I think Ole Miss looks at that as it's Northwestern and Duke. These aren't football powers, you know, and they struggled against Duke, they might think. I'm trying to play devil's advocate on what you're saying. I'm hoping Ole Miss looks ahead somehow. I hope it permeates the fans, the players, the coaches, that they're thinking about number 3 LSU, the other Louisiana team, and not number 30 Tulane.
Well, and again, that is very possible because, LSU not only is number 3 and will be undefeated, barring a loss at home to Southeastern Louisiana.
LSU could, it's not La Tech. They could play backups at every position and they'd beat Southeastern.
I know. Yeah. So LSU will be number 3 and probably undefeated and coming up to Oxford for the Magnolia Bowl. It's a historical rivalry, whether LSU is ranked or not. So, that is definitely a way, way bigger game for Ole Miss. And it is possible that, these are kids, human nature. It's, as much as the coach tells them to lock in on Saturday against the Green Wave, there may be some that just have a hard time taking it seriously. And if that's the case, that'll work in the Green Wave's favor. The last time they went on the road, they didn't play great at South Alabama. They're going to have to play a lot better this time. But you're right. This would be the biggest game in program history in terms of what it sets up for them beyond the Cotton, bigger than the Cotton Bowl, because it would give them a real clear path to the 12-team college football playoff. And it would really be the first time that anyone alive has ever seen Tulane, at least technically in the running. If you make the 12-team playoff, you're probably not going to win, but you have a chance to win a national championship then. It would be a Cinderella run. So
no doubt.
And if they win even the first round game, then now you're in the top. You're going to finish the season in the top 10. So, that it has a chance to be one of the best seasons in Tulane history if that happens. And so, it's definitely a big game. A lot to look forward to. And this is they're good, but they've looked vulnerable at times too. So they will have to be a good version of themselves.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, Tulane could sneak up on them.
They got to play their best game. Both teams. Tulane is capable of winning. Brett, I love John Summerall's post game on ESPN2. He Retzloff rushes for 4 touchdowns. I think it's a Tulane record. And Summerall's complaining on air about he's got to quit fumbling the ball. And Retzloff's right next to him. And then he hugs him and all that, but was critical and like ornery, a little mad about it. It reminded me of, I think LSU was up on Nick Saban and LSU were up on some team like 42-0. And Saban's just ripping this defensive back coming off the field. I'm like, this is crazy. LSU's up 42-0. What's Saban doing? But just so focused on winning. And Retzloff had a great game, and Summerall's thinking about the fumbles, and those have to be correct. And he's right. You can't do that in Oxford. So you got to love John Summerall, man.
It's good that Summerall feels comfortable doing that. And his players really like him. I mean, and they know that he has their back, but they also know that he has the whole team's back, and he doesn't want bad habits creeping in. He wants everyone accountable for the things they do that could hurt the team.
Yep.
And I think he was just, I think obviously Summerall really, really badly wanted that game, and Tulane was dominating for a while, and then all of a sudden they let Duke back in at the end, partly because of that turnover. But the other thing that happened was, I think he was a little frustrated because he basically told Retzloff, you can slide, you don't have to like run through every tackle after that fumble. And so then the next time he had a chance to slide on third down play, he slid, and when you slide feet first, the moment the slide starts, that's where they spot the ball. He was short of the first down on the third down run. So then they had to go for it. I guess they made it, but again, I think Summerall was just a little bit like, all right, come on, we need to do a little bit better here. So yeah, but you can't take anything away from Willie Fritz. Fritz was the coach for the won the Cotton Bowl, but Summerall, boy, they totally hit a home run getting Summerall to succeed Willie Fritz, and Summerall could end up going down depending on how they do this year as one of the best coaches, all time at Tulane, even if he's only here for a couple of years.
No, you're right, especially if how things finish up this year. Hey, Brett, always a pleasure. We'll talk some Saints next week.
All right, you got it.
That's Brett Martell from the Associated Press. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. 9 of the last 15 Saints games are on the road. 9 of their last 15 are on the road. At Seattle, at Buffalo, the next 2. I'm not worried about the Saints record, honestly. I just want to keep seeing the effort we've seen the last 2 weeks, all season long, not last year's Carr and Allen debacle. That's Blue Boys saying, see you tomorrow.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.